Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about why kills don't matter, and we're going to be kind of skipping through different parts of the game, showing you how I create a lot of extra gold and get really big gold advantages, even when I'm outpaced in terms of kills by the opponent. We're just going to talk about fundamentals of roaming and understanding this type of thing. So going into the early game, right, we will just talk about how to play the early game on a mage, because of course, you know, you're not really going to see the fundamental part until later on in the game when you have to make more decisions. So first thing about playing a mage, or most champions in general, is when the enemy go up for last hits, you really want to try to punish them hard. And so every time that the Ahri is trying to auto attack these minions, notice how I'm taking that time to hit her with spells. So because she's focusing really hard on pushing the wave, I've pretty much just gone for her with my abilities every time she walks up to auto attack something. So every time she's standing still to auto attack, I'll walk up on her. And then another important thing to understand about lane phase is ability cooldowns and playing around that. So in this situation, for example, Ahri used her second ability, and immediately after that, I walked up on her more aggressive. She just used her first ability as well, so I know I have a timer to walk more aggressive as well. And because I have the lane push and she's down a level, I also trade with her more aggressive. So you can see so far in this lane, we played around the fact that she was trying to auto attack the wave really hard, and each time she stood still to auto attack, I landed a free ability on her. Then we played around level advantages. When I had the level advantage, I traded more aggressively with her. And lastly, we played around ability cooldowns, and whenever she would use her abilities and those would go on cooldown, I would go more aggressive in the lane. All of those things allowed me to overall have a pretty advantageous situation in the lane. And then now I get to push the wave and recall on the perfect timer. The best timer to recall on is typically when you're at 900 gold, so that you can recall for your boots. And so I'm looking for a recall angle because I just cleared the wave to get my boots. Still coughing a little bit, still a little sick. So if you guys, hear me coughing throughout this video, that's why. But we're able to take that perfect recall. So the fundamentals early of the lane, again, are those things that we mentioned, punishing her in the lane for those different mistakes, and then getting the perfect recall off so that we're going to be stronger than her when we come back for this reset. So those have kind of been the main things so far that have really been useful for us and allowed us to kind of get an early little advantage on her, especially because Syndra wants to play around landing as many abilities as possible in the early game to get stacks. Because obviously, the stacks are what really make her scaling potential really hard, or really strong. And then again here, we just go and poke her as she's walking up for minions to make her lose out on a minion. And then whenever she walks up aggressively, we use that aggression against her and just start poking her. So again, you see how she's going for a last hit. So again, I go for the abilities, and we just constantly get that poke on her, and I'm already on 37 stacks at 2.5 minutes, which is extremely fast. Oftentimes there's going to be kind of a shift once you get to this point in the game, which is the point when you hit your ultimate and the enemy and you hit your boots. So once you have your boots and your ultimate, you're often going to want to start pushing the lane more aggressively and then recalling and rotating in that type of situation, or looking for the all-in angles because you have that power spike. And so here, because I have the level advantage, I have the itemization like I want, and I hit my first evolve, I play more aggressive around that, and then we end up pushing her off of the wave and getting a pretty good advantage early on, and then taking a recall right after. And then now we got the recall off, we go back to lane, and oftentimes what you're going to want to do right after you get a recall is immediately push the wave that's coming. And then oftentimes you're going to want to push the wave after that as well. And then once you've pushed that wave, now you have the agency to make a decision. So in this case, the Ahri ends up roaming on a very bad timer, and I kind of want to speak about why it's a bad timer to roam here. So the main reason it's a negative, decision to roam is because she's going to lose out on this entire wave. She knows that I recalled on a similar timer to her. She recalled slightly earlier because we pressured her off the wave, but she's going to now go straight towards top side, which will guarantee that she loses out on the 200 gold from this wave. Now, alongside losing out on the 200 gold from this wave, she'll also give me 150 gold from a turret plate. So that's 350 gold total for me that I get, and then 200 gold she loses on the wave. So that's a net positive of 550 gold for me, guaranteed, that she will not get. Now, the only way that she can make up that difference is if she ends up getting 2 kills, because 2 kills is worth 600 gold, and we just described how that play is worth 550 gold for me. So basically, the only way it's positive is if she gets 2 kills. Now, she got 2 kills there, but it still ends up being only barely positive, right? She only gets a 50 gold difference. And of course, kills are much less likely to occur compared to me getting the wave. It's pretty much guaranteed that I get the wave. It's not guaranteed that she gets the kill. So even though it feels really good for her to get those kills, she actually makes herself worth more gold because getting those 2 kills makes her worth 100 additional gold compared to me. So she's going to give that gold back later anyway. And again, it's not a guaranteed play. Another thing it does is give me perfect agency to make a play. So notice how even though she got that roam topside and then I got the mid wave first, because I pushed that mid wave, I have the agency to move now, and she's not going to be able to push the wave as quick because the wave is not going to be in mid lane right away. And so what this allows me to do is rotate and get the entire first turret alongside my teammates. So even if my teammates didn't get this kill, which they just got on their own, I would have been able to guarantee that kill and then get this first turret. And so now we got that, you know, positive outcome from that play. And then we also got first turret gold, which is way more beneficial for the entirety of my team, including myself. And now if you look at the gold, I'm at 4,000 and she's at 4,000 once she gets that plate. And so we're at the exact same number of gold. And I'm worth less gold than her because I didn't get any kills, where she got 2 kills. We got the first turret gold, which is more beneficial for our team as a whole. And we had a guaranteed play because getting that wave is going to happen 100% of the time. But her getting that kill, that double kill, it's very rare that you get a double kill from a roam. And so for all those reasons, we end up taking the consistent play. Now my Volibear makes a really good decision as well here alongside me to also get or make another advantageous play. And that is, instead of contesting a 50-50 fight on the dragon, we go for the Herald. Now the reason going for the Herald is better in this scenario and in most scenarios is because that is more guaranteed gold that allows you to snowball. So my team gets an additional 1,000 gold roughly from that Herald, from getting the plates, getting the turret, getting everything like that. Whereas the enemy get a really useless buff from a dragon that isn't useful unless they're able to get the soul. So we're making a lot of macro plays that give us way more gold. And then because the wave is already pushed from my teammates using the ensemble, I rotate towards the top side to give my team an angle to play around more turrets. And so now you're going to see the turret health is going to go from 2,100 to 600, meaning we get a total of 450 gold from those 3 plates. So not only are we creating gold on the bottom side by getting that turret, that first turret gold, but we're then creating a play around the top side to get more turret gold from the plates. So we're pushing the wave first. We're using the fact that the wave is pushed to then rotate and have a longer period of time where we can sit around the turret and create gold from turret plates and whatnot. Whereas the enemy, especially the Ahri, is rotating before first clearing a wave, which is meaning that her plays are not guaranteed and they make her worth more gold, as we said. And for all these reasons, even though it looks like the game's going amazing for the enemy, because you know, they have 7 kills, we have 3, we're, in terms of gold, pretty much entirely even as a team. We just pulled up the scoreboard here. Whatever, we don't need to look at it. I don't want to try to get it pulled up, right? But we are like even gold as a team as a whole, and that's going to continue to be the case. Is that we're going to, despite my teammates dying and making a lot of frankly dumb mistakes that didn't need to occur, we're still able to create these gold advantages. And so once again, because the mid wave is already pushing, instead of going really far up on that mid wave, I go and cover the top wave so the enemy can't get plates. So just as how it's important to play around, and you can see we're up 600 gold as a team right now as well, as the scoreboard just showed up. But just as important as it is to play around these turret plates yourself, it's also important to play around protecting them. So that's why I went for the top wave first, because the top wave was pushing more dangerously. And then I'm still able to cover this wave in the end. Now, if my teammates' macro was proper, they would have been covering this mid wave, right, and let me cover that top wave. But either way, you see how I'm able to create this additional gold because not only do I protect turret plates and play around turret plates for my own team, but I'm clearing these waves really efficiently and then rotating towards the part of the map where there is a wave. So because you know, I cleared that top wave, I had time to rotate towards mid and protect the mid tower. So I'm protecting multiple different turrets on multiple waves, whereas my opponent is often only covering one wave at a time. So this just additional kind of time that we create allows us to guarantee that gold. Again, I'm at 6,500 gold and the Ahri is at 6,300, even though she's 3-0 and 2 and I'm 0-0-0. So let's say, you know, in a hypothetical world, we made the exact same decisions, but I happen to get a kill or 2 just because, you know, oftentimes free kills show up or, you know, different circumstances occur or whatever, then we'd be in a really good spot. And so again, here you see how I initially look towards the top roam because the mid wave is not yet there. But as soon as the mid wave gets towards mid, I immediately go and clear it. So whereas this Ahri again would have probably done something like gone straight for that roam completely, I and pushing a wave first and then looking to create, you know, gold on other parts of the map. So again, after clearing this mid wave, I now look for the bot wave. And so I'm just constantly looking for these different waves on different parts of the map, whereas the Ahri, again, is really just looking for kills right away. So again, notice how the mid wave is meeting in mid lane, and Ahri immediately goes top lane once again. Again, this lack of fundamentals from this Ahri is really biting her in the butt, and she doesn't even realize it because she feels happy about getting kills. And so you can just see this constant, you know, kind of decision that we're making. Even though the score is currently 4-11, 4-12, we're still barely behind in gold. Now, we are behind slightly because, you know, the enemy did get a bunch of kills, so we are down 1.5k gold as a team. But 8 kills is worth 2,400 gold, and we're only down 1,500 gold. And again, my teammates are making a lot of dumb mistakes, frankly, on these deaths. And even in these types of cases where we have this consistent gameplay. So the reason that it's so important to play like this is because it's way more consistent, and you will always, you know, be strong in every game. Whereas again, the way the Ahri is playing relies heavily on these kills actually working out, and she has pretty much had the optimal game in terms of, you know, every single decision she's made has worked. Every time she roams, she gets a kill, she gets a double kill, she gets something out of it. And then now she's on the bottom side of the map when there is an objective spawning. And so the one time that you want to shift your mindset from get gold, push waves, push turrets to something else is when objectives spawn. When an objective spawns, you need to be, you know, playing more around that oftentimes, especially when you're ahead. So on second dragon, if you're ahead, you're going to want to be fighting, whereas this Ahri ends up rotating really late and not being very valuable to her team. So say that the Ahri was very behind in gold. In that case, then it would be a good idea to go on the side lane and use the second dragon as a distraction. But because she was ahead, it doesn't really make sense to do that. So again, you can see another lack of fundamental understanding of the game from the Ahri, leading to her team once again falling behind. And then you see she died here as well. And her death, because she had 4 kills, was worth 600 gold. Whereas if I died right now, I'd be worth 300 gold. And so killing her gave my team twice as much value. And now I am 9,000 gold and Ahri is 8,300 gold. And she's been giving my teammates more gold, and she's not been providing value because she wasn't at the second objective despite being ahead as a team. And again, not making this video to flame the Ahri. I don't know the Ahri and I don't care about her, right? The reason I'm saying this, and look at my damage, by the way, we one-shot the Draven there, which is pretty funny. The reason I'm just pointing this out is because I want to point out common mistakes I see a lot of players make, which is very akin to this Ahri's mistakes. And these are the types of mistakes that are harder to identify as a player, because you feel really good about getting kills, and so you don't feel like it's your fault. But the reality is this Ahri has done a lot to lose her team this game, and yet when she evaluates it in her head, she's probably thinking, I got team gapped, my team is bad, whatever. But again, 7 to 15 in kills as a team, and they're not really in a good spot gold-wise. And so another important thing to understand about waves is to squeeze waves in between objective timers. And so because there's 16 seconds before the Baron, I have this small window to go topside and create free gold where I'm not going to lose out on anything, because nobody's just going to start Baron right at 12 minutes unless they're really, really ahead. Additionally, I can see based on my wave's location where their waves will be. So because they have a really big wave stacked up here, I know that this wave's been here for a while, because if a wave stacks up more than 4 minions, that means that that's 2 waves worth of gold, which means that those minions have been fighting for a while. And slowly killing each other. And when that's the case, you know that another wave is going to come right behind it because it got stacked up. And so you can see I get this entire wave, and then there's an entire another wave stacked up on it, which allows me to get towards my entire death cap. And so I'm 12 minutes into the game and I already have death cap, which is at an extremely fast pace for death cap, and is going to allow me to be very strong. And so again, I create these small windows where I'm getting an additional wave where my opponents are stuck on a singular wave. So again, I cleared that mid wave, and then I immediately went top wave. A lot of other people would clear mid wave and then look for a fight. And it's important to understand that the only time you're really looking for fights is close to objectives, especially objectives that are actually going to be gotten soon. Whereas, like, again, Baron at 12 minutes usually isn't actually taken. Say that Baron was a dragon, well then I would have skipped the top wave and I would go straight to dragon, because, you know, that would be an objective that would be fought on right away. And so now, because I've farmed so well and I've hit my death cap power spike, I'm able to one-shot pretty much anyone. Like, I'm up gold on literally everyone. I think I have the most gold in the entire game right now. I'm at like 11,000. Everyone else is, you know, 10,000 or below, right? So we just have this extreme gold advantage on a scaling mage, right? It's not like I'm playing a snowballing And look at my damage on her, by the way, very absurd, right? Literally one-shot her at this point, and you can just see. But it's not like I'm playing, you know, an early game snowballing champion and getting all this gold. I'm playing a late game scaling mage, and I'm getting this much gold. And so my burst damage, again, is just absurd. I just hit my ultimate evolve, so I have a bunch of stacks. And then this is where the game kind of turns on its head, where now we're able to go for the Baron, because, again, I get that easy one-shot from the fact that I've been farming so well, and then my teammates get a nice pick as well, and we're able to very easily get these kills. And so, again, we've spoken pretty at length, you know, about how to create gold and everything, so I'm aware that you guys probably get the gist of it at this point. So I know that some of you are going to feel, and look at my damage, by the way, absurd damage, which I just think is funny, so I just want to point that out. Absurd damage. But I know a lot of you guys will probably say things like, well, this doesn't work in my elo talent. My teammates are constantly ARAMing. They're constantly fighting. If I don't show up the fights, they flame me. They run it down. They do this, that, and the other thing, right? And I want to make it clear. I'm not telling you to never fight. If you look now at my scoreline, I'm 5-0-1, which means I have over 50% kill participation. And my actual kills, again, I've created so many free kills, right? I have 5 kills already. Not like I'm not fighting at all. I'm just fighting on the proper timers. Whereas you guys will want to go fight with your team in ARAM when there's nothing, you know, no point in the fight. So when there's an objective up, for example, I'm sticking around this mid wave even though my entire team is mid. I'm not trying to create gold on the side lane because there's a dragon in 15 seconds. And so in a case like this, I'm going to stick around my team. I'm going to group with them. And if they go to fight, I'm going to be there with them. But if there was no objective up or there was no reason to fight, I'm going to be on the side lane creating gold. And so it's about understanding the timer in which you want to fight and in which you want to be farming on. Whereas a lot of people don't understand that, and they'll, you know, not push their wave right before an objective, or they'll try to force a fight that doesn't matter, that's 50-50 even when they're behind in gold. And so you have to understand, when there's no objective up, if you are behind or even in gold, you probably want to be trying to create more gold on the side lane and getting those additional waves and squeezing out that a bit of extra gold on the side wave. Whereas, say that you're really ahead, that's when you can start fighting. Because if you're going to fight when you're ahead, then you're having a much higher chance of winning that fight, of course, right? Because you're a lot stronger than the enemy. And so you can do more of this ARAM with your team and take a lot of the kind of dumber fights with your team once you have this gold lead. And so notice how, because now the game is starting to shift and I'm really strong in comparison to everyone, I'm in mid lane a lot more, I'm fighting with my team a lot more, and I'm okay with being more aggressive because at this point I've reached my power spike, I've reached death cap, I'm ahead of the pace of the game in terms of gold. I'm at 14,000 gold at this point, and the 15,000 gold, and the Ahri is 10.6. So now I'm 4.5k gold ahead of Ahri, almost 5k gold ahead of Ahri. And now that's when I'm going to start fighting. So you can see that shift, and that's what you guys need to understand. When your teammates are griefing and they're doing dumb stuff and fighting pointless fights, let them do those pointless fights and ignore them. But then once you become really strong, you eventually have to shift towards fighting, where you see now I go in mid lane, I'm literally able to one-shot a Pyke and I didn't even hit all my abilities on him because I'm so dang ahead. And that's the type of shift that you guys aren't understanding. Often, again, I say this generally speaking, you know, this might not apply to all of you. Maybe some of you do understand this, but oftentimes I find when I coach people, this is the shift they don't get, where it's like, it's not like I'm never fighting. Again, I have 8 kills of my team's 16 kills at this point. I'm still fighting. I'm just not fighting on dumb timers when there's no value from the fight. I'm fighting once I get to my power spike, where I can now literally almost one-shot a Master Yi, almost one-shot an Ahri, and just have absurd burst damage. And so that's really kind of the gist of it. And these are really the fundamentals of mid lane. Additionally, it's more important to understand side laning as an assassin mid laner compared to a mage. But the goal kind of is different for an assassin versus a mage. So the goal for a mage on side lane is often to really create gold for yourself. You're trying really hard to just create that additional gold, where you see me getting, like, you know, an extra wave in comparison to my opponent, so that I get that additional 200 gold, or, you know, I push a wave before roaming, whereas the Ahri just roams and then pushes the wave after. These types of things. Whereas the goal of an assassin on mid lane is often to draw pressure on the opposite side, or on the same side of wherever the next objective is spawning. So say that the Baron was about to spawn in this game and I'm an assassin. I'm going to want to split push on the Baron side of the map, so on the bottom side of the map in this case. and then I'm going to push that wave out, and then I'm either going to look for a kill on that side lane because assassins are really good at killing, or I'm going to push that bot wave and then rotate towards mid after to create kills. And so that's just a general thing to understand about side laning as well. But as a whole, I just wanted to help you guys understand the fundamentals of mid lane and to show you guys why kills don't matter in the early game. What matters is creating gold and playing around these consistent plays. And then you're still going to create opportunities to roam. It's just that you're going to push the wave and then roam. Whereas, again, you saw that Ahri in this game, she roamed and then pushed the wave later. It was like a second thought. For me, the wave is what determines my decision making. When there's a wave in mid, I'm going to make a play around pushing that wave and then look to roam afterwards. And that's why we were able to carry this game so hard. So I hope that this was valuable for you guys. I hope you're able to take away some good fundamentals. And keep in mind, these do apply to other roles as well, not just mid lane. If you're interested in coaching from a rank 5 sovereign autofill player like myself, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, and I can teach you key concepts such as the one gone over in this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed.